What's up, guys? T-Rock1992 here. For this next video, and actually for my next actor series entry, I'm going to be talking about an actor who I just saw a few actually about a month ago or so. I saw a couple of his movies. They were both very good, and he's definitely a guy who's known now for straight action movies. Where the guy I'm talking about is Liam Neeson. So he is the subject of my About series of this entry. So Liam Neeson's been known for... Liam Neeson, I feel like, has had two different careers. First career was... he was more of a chameleon. He fit into drama roles. He had some action roles sprinkled in there, but he was mainly a dramatic actor. Then the second part of his career went and started with one of the most well-known action movies of the 2000s, for sure. And in that process, he got introduced to a new audience, I think, for sure. So I think he had two different careers, and without further ado, I'm going to get into each one of them. So, now I'm going to talk about film first. He does have some television on his resume. 1978 was his film debut. He starred in a movie called The Pilgrim's Progress in 78, and that's where he started his career. 1981, his first... I'll definitely say big-ish movie was a movie called Excalibur. And if that sounds familiar, it's the story of the legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Of course, for those of you who know the mythology, King Arthur had a sword named Excalibur. And if you've watched the Disney movie The Sword and the Stone, you'll know about that. And there's been a lot of movie adaptations of King Arthur and Knights of the Round Table, Excalibur, things like that. So Liam Neeson has a small role in the film. And that was pretty much what he started out as. He had a lot of smaller roles. He starred in a movie called The Bounty in 1984. He had a supporting role, and the two main stars of that film were Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson. He had a starring role in 1985's The Lamb. It's significant because, yeah, it was one of his first starring roles in a movie. And just a ton of other movies you've probably never heard of before that he did throughout the 80s. But I am going to get to a couple here that I have seen that were in the 80s. He had a supporting role in the Dirty Harry movie, The Deadpool. There were 5 films in the Dirty Harry film series, of course. For those of you who know, Dirty Harry was played by actor Clint Eastwood. He'll be one I'm going to talk about in the probably near future, something like that. But Liam Neeson had a small role in the Deadpool. He played a director, something like that. Also notable was Jim Carrey. He was in this movie. So yeah, that was one of his first real big film roles, was the Deadpool. 1989, he started a movie called Next of Kin. Now, I don't know if a lot of people have heard of this film before. I actually did watch it. And the main star is Patrick Swayze. and Liam Neeson is a supporting role in the film. Next of Kin is about, basically, it's a war between hillbillies and mafia. That's what it is, basically. One of the hillbillies gets killed by a mafia member, something like that, and as a result, they go into retaliation. They go into an all-out war. This is also a film Ben Stiller, one of his earliest film roles. So you had the movie Next of Kin. Now, the next movie I'm going to talk about is one I've heard of before. Never watched it, but I've heard of it. It's a movie called Darkman. It's a superhero action film. Looking at it, you're like, yeah, I can't really picture Liam Neeson as a superhero. Just because I think this is the only time he's done it was Darkman. Excuse me, but yeah, Darkman was it was definitely a starring role for Liam Neeson, one of his first big starring roles in a film, and so yeah, Darkman was did a lot of good things for his career, I think. Then throughout the early 90s, he had a lot of different films that he that probably not a lot of people really know about. Maybe some people do, but but the big film that he did, the film that put him on the map, this is the film that made him a breakout star, was Schindler's List in 1993. Directed by the great Steven Spielberg. He plays Oscar Schindler in this movie. Schindler is this guy who... he's a German who helps the Jewish people out, basically. He helps a lot of Jewish people out, and this was a big movie. This was definitely a huge movie on... it was a huge movie for Liam Neeson. It was a huge movie for Steven Spielberg. Such a huge movie for Neeson that he was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor. Didn't win, but he was nominated, which is always an honor for any actor. So with Schindler's List, he had a lot more authority to choose a lot of different roles. Obviously, when you get big like he did in that movie, you get a lot more opportunity. You can choose, more roles come at your door, basically. He starred in a movie called Michael Collins in 1996. I've heard of the movie. So he starred in that. He starred in the 1998 adaptation of Les Miserables. Of course, it's an adaptation of a novel written by famous French author Victor Hugo. Les Miserables was also, I believe, an adaptation... I believe there was an adaptation 2012 or something like that, 2011, something like that. There was another adaptation of that film. But I believe so. Yes, 2012. There was a film adaptation of it. That movie had Anne Hathaway in it, a whole bunch of other actors and actresses. But yeah, this I have watched that Les Miserables version, the 1998 version, I owned it on, I think it was VHS. And I remember watching it a long time ago. It's been a year since I've seen it. But yeah, I've seen that. 1999, he popped up in one of the biggest franchises of all time, which is the Star Wars franchise. So he starred in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, a lot of people have the opinion, there are some people that like the prequels, definitely, but a lot of different other people, critics most likely, they didn't like the prequels at all. Me, I don't think the prequels hold a candle to the original trilogy. The original trilogy is just amazing. But yeah, Liam Neeson, he plays Qui-Gon Jinn, who is a trainer for Anakin Skywalker. No, he wasn't the trainer for Anakin Skywalker. He was the trainer for, what's the name? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi is the trainer of Anakin Skywalker before, spoiler, Anakin Skywalker turns dark, basically, turns into Darth Vader. A lot of people have seen the movie anyway, so not much of a spoiler for the people who have seen it. But yeah, Episode 1, Phantom Menace, he appears as Qui-Gon Jinn. And a lot of people, there's a big fight scene. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but there's a big fight scene involving him and Darth Maul. And I've seen the fight scene. I think it's great. I think it's a great fight scene. And my opinion of the prequels, I haven't seen them in a long time, but I like them. But they weren't the original trilogy. They definitely weren't. Next on the list, in 2002, Liam Neeson makes a short appearance. He's credited as a supporting actor, but he really is a bit actor in this movie because he only appears in the beginning. Gangs of New York, the Martin Scorsese film. Gangs of New York was great. I mean, Liam Neeson does pop up in the beginning of the film, but not very much of it. You're too big. I mean, the guy who steals the show in Gangs of New York is Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, he just transforms into his character that he played. Leonardo DiCaprio's pretty solid, and Cameron Diaz is pretty solid too, but Daniel Day-Lewis is just great. Liam Neeson does pretty good in what he is in, which is not very much, but granted, but it just, he was pretty good in the movie. Anyway. But yeah, Gangs of New York, another film Liam Neeson was in. There are a few other ones that he was in. He was in a movie called Kinsey, in a starring role. So let's see, he was in that. He was in the movie Kingdom of Heaven, the Orlando Bloom film. Orlando Bloom stars in the film. This is the Crusade. This is about the Crusades of the 12th century, basically. And I would like to see the movie someday, actually. Someday I'd like to see it. But yeah, he was in that movie. He was in Batman Begins in 2005. He played Ra's al Ghul, the guy. Excuse me. He plays another trainer. This time he's the trainer of Batman. Or Bruce Wayne, who then becomes Batman. And then Ra's al Ghul has a duplicitous side, basically, to him. Liam Neeson really does play the character very well in this movie. He is a big part of what makes that movie good, Batman Begins, and what started the whole Christopher Nolan trilogy of Batman movies that has just been so beloved. There's a movie that he did in 2007 called Seraphim Falls that he did with Pierce Brosnan. In 2007. He was in the Chronicles series, Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in 2005, and 2008 was Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. And he voiced a character named Aslan in the film. In the films. But the movie that really reinvigorated his career, it reinvigorated his career in that a lot of people saw him as being in that type of genre that he was in. 2008's Taken. Taken is such a good movie. I love the original Taken. It was a great film because it was different. It had a different plot to it. Basically, in the movie, he plays a guy named Brian Mills, retired agent. Very trying to reconnect with his family, and his daughter gets kidnapped, and he has to go in, and he has to save the day. For those of you who have been earlier fans of my channel, I did a video about Liam Neeson's quote that he said, the line that Liam Neeson said when he called the cell phone that he gave his daughter's cell phone. He called his daughter's cell phone, and he says to the killers, something along the lines of, "I will find you, and I will kill you." It just is so... The line is just so chilling. Because it's like, here's a guy, you just pissed that guy off by kidnapping his daughter. And I think it's good, and I think Taken's very good. Because, the plot, you just look at the plot, he has to save his daughter from a sex trafficking ring. I'd never seen that before in any type of action movie that I've watched. That's part of what makes Taken so great. Plus, it's a back and forth type movie, and it's just balls to the wall action. Great. Taken's just a great movie. And it really, I think, introduced fans to, newer fans to Liam Neeson. Newer people to Liam Neeson. Because a lot of people definitely knew him back in the day for his dramatic roles and his action type roles, dramatic action type roles. But now a newer generation kind of knows him now for his action movies. He has duplicated his action status. He has really ridden the train that Taken took him on. The train of great action movies, And he really started a great trend that a lot of other actors have tried to pursue. The middle-aged action hero. In 2008, Liam Neeson was in his 60s when he did this movie, and he looked great. He could kick a 20-year-old's ass. It just... You believed him in this role. You believed he could come, he could kick everybody's ass, and he did so great with that. So anyway, after Taken, a couple of years later, in 2010, he does Clash of the Titans. This is a mythology film, and he does a couple of these mythology films. Clash of the Titans in 2010 and Wrath of the Titans in 2012. I don't think these movies were very well received, but in the movies he played Zeus, the almighty god Zeus. Also in 2010, he stars in the A-Team. The A-Team, for those of you who don't know, was a TV show, an action TV show back in the 80s. It had Mr. T in it. For those of you who don't know, or for those of you who know Mr. T, pity the fool! That's his big line. Two big names in the movie were Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper. So, the A-Team came out in 2010, and it got mixed reviews from critics, and it didn't make a ton of money, but it was there, and there was definitely a fan base. In 2010, also, he did another Chronicles of Narnia movie, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. One other thing about The Chronicles of Narnia. I saw the original one, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I believe I saw that in theaters a long time ago, back in 2005. I remember seeing that movie. If it wasn't that, it was one of the other ones, but I remember seeing that. I think it was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I remember seeing that movie. In 2012, he stars in The Grey, a movie I have heard of, where he battles wolves in the wilderness. Basically, that's it. It's an adventure thriller. And this was in 2011, and 2012 was a wide release. And this movie has been talked about as a continuance of the great a continuance of his great action roles. Also in 2012, he stars in the film Battleship, which is based on the classic board game Battleship. This movie has Rihanna in it. Taylor Kitsch is in it, Liam Neeson's in it in a supporting role, and Rihanna, she's in the movie. I hear that Rihanna's acting was terrible, and the movie didn't do very well. The movie got a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. It did not do very well. Also in 2012, he did a number of films in 2012. He did a cameo. He made a cameo in The Dark Knight Rises, the final film in the Nolan trilogy. He did not appear in The Dark Knight. That was Heath Ledger's movie as the Joker. Then he also starred in the second Taken movie, Taken 2. I really liked Taken 2. A lot of people did not like Taken 2. A lot of critics didn't like Taken 2. But I enjoyed it. I really, I thought one area that it improved on over the original was that it had a central villain. They had a villain that didn't appear at the end of the film like it did, like the villain that appeared in the end of the film in Taken, the first Taken. So, I liked that. There were a number of villains in the first Taken, but there's one central villain in the second movie, which I liked, definitely. 2013, he makes a cameo in Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. And he makes a cameo. A lot of people made a cameo in that movie. He stars in the Lego Movie in 2014. He branches out into comedy too. 2014 was the year he really did that. The Lego Movie, which was just a huge success. I don't think anybody thought that movie was going to be as big as it was. And then A Million Ways to Die in the West. I loved A Million Ways to Die in the West. It's a Seth MacFarlane comedy, and I mean, he just does a great job in the movie. It's just a very good movie. Liam Neeson adds some gravitas to the film for sure. He's the bad guy in the movie. Then he did a couple action films, Non-Stop in 2014. That was one of the films I watched about a month ago or so. Non-Stop was, and I did a review on this, on this movie. Non-Stop was just a great thriller, edge of your seat type movie. It was really good, and if you want more details on the movie, I have my review up on my channel. Definitely check it out. A Walk Among the Tombstones was the other action movie he was in 2014, and that movie was darker, for sure. I've never seen the film. I'd like to see it. It's up there on my list of movies I want to see, my extensive list. Then he's had a pretty good year this year. Now he starred in Taken 3. Taken 3 I thought was okay. It was nothing special. He didn't make the movie bad. He didn't make the movie less than the two, he didn't make the movie as, it just didn't, he was not the problem in the movie. There were some other problems. I mean, Forrest Whitaker was in this film, and I did not like his character at all. And just, the movie Taken 3 compared to the first two just was not that good. But, I mean, I thought it was okay. It was nothing special, though. That's what it is. It was okay, nothing special, but if I see it again, okay, I guess I'll see it again. But, I will. There's a million other movies I'd rather watch than Taken 3, let's just say that. Then he starred in the movie Run All Night, which I really enjoyed. I watched that about a month ago, and yeah, again, I really enjoyed the movie. I don't think he's the main star in the film. I mean, he does a really good job in the movie. He is everybody's favorite middle-aged action hero, as we all know him. But the star of that film is Ed Harris. And if you want more on that, I have the review on my YouTube channel. I also have the review on Taken 3 as well. So, 3 of those Liam Neeson films. So, if you want to check them out, definitely check them out. He made a few cameos in 2015. The movie Entourage, he made a cameo. Entourage, of course, based on the HBO TV series. And the movie Ted 2, which I saw in theaters this year. He has a very interesting cameo in the film. Let's just put it at that. But it's a pretty good cameo, definitely. It's a nice cameo that he has. Originally, I thought that it was going to be a bigger role. His role, I thought, was going to be a bigger role than what it was. But still, I like the cameo. So that's it for movies that are coming out, that have already come out for Liam Neeson. He has 3 films that he's going to be appearing in. In 2016, we're going to get another Martin Scorsese film, and that movie is called Silence. And Andrew Garfield is one of the main characters in the film, Adam Driver and Liam Neeson. So, yeah, this movie is a historic drama film. The next movie that Martin Scorsese is going to be doing. So, it's due out. It's sometime in 2016. So, there you go. for all you Martin Scorsese fans out there, he has another movie coming out. He also has this movie called Operation Chromite, which is going to be coming out in 2016, and he plays Douglas MacArthur, the famous general of World War II. And also he is going to be in the movie A Monster Calls, which is a drama fantasy film. So Liam Neeson kind of going back to his dramatic roots a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's had dramatic roles in the 2000s movies I haven't seen, but this at least is, well, anyway, the film is going to be coming out in October 14th, 2016, and it stars, Liam Neeson's going to have a supporting role in the film. Also, Felicity Jones, I've heard the name, and Sigourney Weaver, who a lot of people know her as Ripley from the Alien series. I think the character's name's Ripley anyway. But yeah, those are the films that are currently slated to be coming out in 2016. I don't think you could see a Taken 4 at some point. I mean, there's always the smallest possibility that there could be a Taken 4. I wouldn't want to see it because I thought 3 was a step down from the first two. Still okay, but it was a step down, definitely. You probably should have had just the 2. But you know, you never know. But I think Liam Neeson's gone on the record as saying he doesn't want to do another Taken. I think he's gone on the record saying that. Anyway, but I mean, he might have said before he wanted to do a Taken 4, but actors change their minds so much in Hollywood. It's like you can't really take an opinion or take a answer that an actor has to heart. You can't really do that because they really change their minds a lot. And so yeah, it's will we ever see it? Never say never. I don't think we're ever going to see one again. I don't want to see another one again. I think 3's enough. 2's enough, but we had a 3, and that was okay. I haven't really heard anything else about any other movies that he's going to be in. Nothing that I can think of, except those 3 movies that I just mentioned. So now I'm going to kind of get into the television. He really isn't as well known for television. Not really. In 1986, he starred in an episode of Miami Vice, a popular show in the 80s. He starred in the kids show Liberty's Kids in 2002. He starred in an episode of The Simpsons in 2005. He starred in a couple episodes in 2014 and 2015 in Family Guy. And from 2011 to 2014, he starred in 3 different episodes of Star Wars The Clone Wars as Qui-Gon Jinn, the character he played in Star Wars Episode 1. And I think he may have had a cameo in... Actually, I don't think he did have a cameo in any of the other movies. He wasn't in Episode 2 or Episode 3. Anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much the notable stuff that he's been in the television world. He's just not the big TV... He's just not a big TV actor because he doesn't have to be. He's just a great movie actor. He's been in a few video games. He voiced his character Ra's al Ghul in the video game Batman Begins. And in Lego Dimensions, in 2015, he played his character in the Lego movie. That he played in the Lego movie. So, that is it for Liam Neeson and the about on Liam Neeson. Now, he probably has a few more years until he can. He has a few more years he can milk this middle-aged action hero gig that he has, and once that's done, he can kind of settle more into the dramatic stuff that he did in the early days, and probably some in the new days too. And so yeah, he's definitely had an interesting, varied career, and let's hope for some more action films. I'm excited. I'm very excited about the future for Liam Neeson and how many more action movies we can get from him. So get it while it's good, basically. So that is it for the video on Liam Neeson. D-Rock 1992 out.